Okay, 30-second board time. Here are the hot topics. Yes, we will do our best to talk to the riders about their new teams and all the general season-long storylines. But you've been through this drill before, JT. Can you really think about round 2 and beyond before you think about the hurdle that is Anaheim 1 this year, January 11th? Is that really top of mind for everyone?
Everybody wants to say, yes, it's only the first round and all those things, but everybody's going to be nervous coming in here. I think the key thing is to understand the big picture. There's 31 rounds that are going to determine what 2025 means. Come in here, have a strong opening round, but just move on and understand the same amount of points will be gained here that they will at every other round until we get to the playoffs in September. Keeping that in that frame of mind, I think, is really important. If you have a great opening round, awesome. If you don't, it's okay. You get to move on to San Diego for round 2, and guess what? You have another opportunity.
Yep. Now, last year at Anaheim 1, the real story was Jett Lawrence, who had already won the 450 Pro Motocross title and the SMX World Championship as a rookie. What could he do in 450 Supercross? Well, he went out and won the Anaheim opener. Will it be a different story this year as a sophomore? JT had a chance to ask him.
Talk a little bit about 2025. You come off your inaugural season, you win the championship. Can you look at 2025 and kind of know what to expect a little bit more than you did here a year ago?
Definitely a lot more. This year, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good one, and hopefully we can just be better than last year. So all I try and work for and work towards, just be better than the year before.
Well, it's always interesting to get Jett Lawrence's perspective. The kid has seen so much success at an early age, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes into this 2025 season. Can he keep that momentum rolling? Because, man, the expectations have never been higher.
Absolutely. Now, last year, I think the expectation we had was not only Jett Lawrence on the way up, but we were finally going to get Lawrence versus Eli Tomac, who had announced he was coming back to racing after he ruptured his Achilles in 2023. But even though they were on the track together, I think now we all look back and realize we didn't quite see the showdown of showdowns. I think we're all anticipating a better Eli Tomac this time than a year ago.
Yes, and I truly think Eli Tomac is back to form. Look at some of the off-season racing he's done, and just having a chance to sit down with him at his house and speak to him, the confidence is back. He's not going on a farewell tour here in 2025. He thinks he's going to go out a champion in 2025, and I don't know that we saw that type of attitude from him in 2024, especially early on in 2024. So I think it's such a great thing for the sport to have that guy, such an accomplished champion, I think in his best form in what's going to be his last final full season.
Yeah. What did he tell you? He thinks he can still be the guy. That really sums it up.
There's no torch passing for Eli Tomac here. He wants to go out a champion.
And if you're trying to guess who's going to win, well, we have some stats that actually prove how difficult it is. We have 5 riders that have won the 450 championship in Monster Energy Supercross before, all on the gate. We've talked about this several times. That's the most ever. We've never had 5 champions on the gate at Anaheim 1.
Well, that's the parity that we have here going into 2025, and I think you really need that outlier guy to kind of break that trend. Now, can we get a back-to-back champion in 2025? That's going to be a big question that someone like Jett Lawrence that I got to speak to is going to try to answer. But I just think it is such a great time to be a fan of the sport, because every single time that gate drops, you don't know who's going to win. It could truly be one of the old guard that's coming back to try to reclaim this championship. Or, of course, it could be your 2024 SMX World Champion, Jett Lawrence. I think everybody expects that. And don't forget about that Chase Sexton guy. He's still in there, too.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's a point that I wanted to make. Tomac getting back to his previous level, Jett Lawrence being the defending champion, both the Supercross portion of this and the SMX World Champion. I feel like that has taken a lot of the limelight. But let's not forget, Chase Sexton dominated Pro Motocross last year, won Supercross the year before that. But even more importantly, at these media days last year, I feel he was really billing the move to KTM as a work in progress. Well, he's had more than 12 months now on the motorcycle. No more excuses. He's got to make it happen now on this motorcycle.
You would think so, but has there ever been a rider that has been less, or I would say more underwhelming coming into a championship than Chase Sexton? And he's won 2 out of the last 4 championships in the 450 class. I don't know that you could ever say that about another rider. And I guess maybe it was the crash in Las Vegas that took him out of SMX World Championship contention, and then he wasn't able to participate in Motocross the Nation, so he kind of fell off the radar a little bit. But if there was ever a rider that needed to step up and kind of retake his claim in the sport, I think that is Chase Sexton going into this season.
Okay, so great expectations for Chase Sexton. I had a chance to ask him about those for 2025.
I will say I feel a lot better this year than I did last year at this time. Last year I came here and I was yeah, I was struggling with the bike, but I didn't really say anything. And this year I feel really good, actually. I've been riding well. I've had some good weeks of motos testing with the team. So overall in a way better headspace and overall just better spot this year.
Unfortunately, we kind of left you alone. It was not the end of the season that you wanted with SMX and not getting to race Nations. What was the emotional low like, I'm assuming, after that night, how that turned out?
I mean, to be honest, the season's very long, so I was bummed on what happened, how my season ended, because that's 2 years in a row that I haven't been able to finish SMX. But yeah, I was bummed not to race those Nations. I just kind of, after that race, I went home. I kind of just checked out mentally from racing, and I had like 5 or so weeks off the bike, which really helped me. And when I came back, I kind of had that fire again. And yeah, not the way I wanted it to end, but everything happens for a reason. And I'm back and ready to go. My hand, everything's fine. So we're ready to get rolling in here in a month.
On a higher note, the Texas SMX round right before that ended very well for you. Is that a sign of the progress you made, even compared to what we saw in Supercross last year?
Yeah, I would say even since Dallas, I've made even bigger progress from then till now, which is crazy. I hadn't really ridden that much, but we made a lot of progress with the bike. My starts are so far in practice a lot better than last year. That's the biggest thing I'm trying to work on this year, is getting out front, because stuff like that doesn't happen like SMX when I got landed on when I'm in the front. So eliminate that factor, and obviously work on the bike a little bit, but my riding has been really good, like I said, and just having fun at the moment.
Positive vibes for Chase Sexton going into 2025. That's what you like to hear. We always say hashtag deep field. Well, let's add the 4-time MXGP World Champion, 2 in the 250 class, 2, and defending in the 450 class, Jorge Prado to the mix with Monster Energy Kawasaki. That is a really intriguing addition to the series.
It is, and I think for Jorge Prado, it's keeping it in perspective. Yes, he's coming over, and I'm sure he has championships on his list of goals, but I think this is going to be a learning process, just like it was a year ago in January. Come over, I don't want to say get your feet wet, because that was last year, but take steps towards where you want to get to. And for all you fans out there, whether you're stateside, whether you're watching on the SMX Video Pass, and you're thinking about Jorge Prado champion in America, I think that day may be coming, but I would say wait on those goals until May. If he shows up in May and he's healthy and we start the pro motocross leg of this SMX World Championship, I say it's on. Right? There is nothing that he can accomplish, but just give him time. I think it's very unfair to expect him to come out and be a winning or podium level guy early on. He changed teams, he changed bikes. He hasn't ridden anything that wasn't a part of the KTM group since he was 12 years old. So this is going to be a big move for him, and I say just give it time and let him progress into it.
Okay, so all these storylines we're discussing, and then adding Jorge Prado to the mix, and Chase Sexton much more ready this year than last year, and Tomac getting better, and Jett Lawrence defending. Let's not forget Hunter Lawrence should be better in the second year. Cooper Webb, on and on we go. And that's just 450s. 250 class might even be harder to predict than that.
But is it really a deep field? Because I would argue Haiden Deegan has really taken a step. So is it a deep field, or is everyone else just living in Haiden Deegan's world?
That's a bold question. It demands a bold answer. I think they are. And I know that Deegan did not win the Supercross title last year. That's Tom Viel and RJ Hampshire, the defending champions of East and West, respectively. But if you watch what Deegan did in the latter portion of last year, the hybrid tracks, I know, in the SMX playoffs and World Championship are different than Supercross, but JT, are they that different? He was coming from 12th, 10th place, winning races, not even coming down to the wire. If he could do that last September, is it going to be any different in January?
I think this is that box he hasn't checked. If you look over his 250 career, he's kind of done it all, but he has not won. He doesn't have this puzzle piece there, and everybody's going to be pointing at that and say, we don't even have the Supercross part of this thing quite figured out yet. So having talked to him, I know that they're all in. They're doing everything possible to figure this thing out, check that box in 2025, and then kind of move forward into the future. So it's hard to argue when you look at the performance, you look at the growth and improvement that he's made. It's hard to think he's not going to come out here and be that guy in 2025.
Telling myself in my head I ain't losing this championship again, so I'm going to work like I don't want to lose it. So that's what we've been doing.
And then you also told us that's a small goal, but you're not mincing words. You have a bigger goal on the horizon.
Yeah, I feel like any 250 champion, obviously it's their goal, but I feel like I'm going to try and work a little harder than everybody else for it. So obviously the goal is the 450 class. So right now. It's working through the steps. We want to win the 250 titles, but long-term goal, it's blasted on the board, is, you know, go up there and try to be a 450 champion.
And let's not forget, go all the way back to the very, very beginning of 250 East last year. It was Austin Forkner writing the Cinderella story, turned into a pumpkin again. Now he's changed motorcycles for the first time in his career, and to Triumph, who's only 1 year into this game, there's a lot of intrigue. I have no idea where is the window for Forkner. I have no idea.
Well, he has to be the fastest, most capable rider that no one's really talking about. And for good reason. He really went through hell in 2024. You think about him coming out on fire, winning that opening round in Detroit, and everybody was talking about it. This is his year. He's finally going to get it done. And then he broke everybody's heart with that huge crash in Arlington and all the things he went through after. And let's face it, for years he's been facing these trials and tribulations. He's going to get a fresh start. He's going to go over to that Triumph team, and we saw how capable that motorcycle is. Jalik Swoll putting it on the podium last year. So it's really hard to root against Austin Forkner. He's certainly gone through all the hardships that you'd ever want to see a rider go through. So I think he's an open book. He has no pressure, no expectation, and he's capable of winning. So to me, that's a pretty great equation.
Before we get to that, we definitely want to give a shout out to the pioneers who helped us get here. I say there's probably 4 or 5 people as racers in America that really built building blocks to get us where we are. And it actually starts with Malcolm Smith, who is really predating what we now know as the SMX World Championship. But anyone of a certain age that saw him in the seminal movie On Any Sunday knows that that really launched the industry of dirt bike riding and racing in America. 83 years old, he just passed. AMA Hall of Famer, all-time legend. And also Mary McGee. She is the first person to ever solo the Baja race, the female that did it. She also passed at the same time. So we just want to tip the hat and the visor to those who helped build this.
Yeah, pivotal people in this sport's history. We're at a pivotal place in this sport's history. So it is, you hate to see these legends pass, but they won't be forgotten anytime soon.
No. There's a lot of fans that'll be in these stands that'll say that they got into this because of the likes of Malcolm Smith. So thoughts to his family as we get ready to continue a legacy that was started way back then.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.